Hello, and you're welcome once again to another training section on HTML basics. If you are new to this channel, as I keep saying, please subscribe to the channel, hit on the notification bell so that anytime a video is posted, you will get a notification and then follow as usual. All right, you're welcome once again. As I said, to all our students, we want to say very big thank you to you, and then we want to encourage you to continue learning and never stop learning. All right, now where the world is going is all about technology, and so you have got no reason to exempt yourself in this global dynamic change in terms of technology. Quickly, let's go to today's agenda and then look at what we are going to learn in this video. In this video, I'm going to teach you the HTML list that we have, and I will explain the types of lists that we have and also how to use them in your script or whenever you are coding. All right, first of all, when we say lists are the type of syntax that we use to structure and display our content or information very nicely when we come to our pages. Okay, so for instance, if you open Microsoft Word, we have lists in there where we have bullet types and even the numbering types and all those things in there. So the same things or the same logic applies when you come to programming or when you come to HTML. So for instance, if I open the Microsoft Word and then start typing, let's say A, B, C, and D, I can quickly highlight all this and then just come to this option that says create a numbered list and then select an option for my work. Okay, so I can just have it in the form of I or II or whatsoever, like that, in that format. Basically, we are going to learn how to do the same thing using your MS Code, HTML language or syntax. Okay, so quickly let's go to our Visual Studio. But then before we go there, as I explained to you, lists are used to display or structure content. Okay, they are used to display or structure content. That is the first one for you. And then the next one is the types of lists. The types of lists that we have, and so we are going to list them here, and then when we come to the coding part, we will be using them as well. Okay, so the type of list that we can have in HTML are a lot. We have one that is ordered list, which is used also to order or structure or organize your content. So ordered list simply means that the kind of structure or information you want to display, you want it to be in a form that is like orderly arranged. Orderly. It is in an orderly manner where you can make meaning out of it, like it follows one sequential. Okay, but then when we come to the next type of list that we have the opposite of this, which is unordered list. So as the name suggests, the other one is ordered. It follows a pattern, it follows a sequence. But then the second one that says unordered means it can just, like the name suggests, it is unordered list. It is an unordered list, meaning that it does not follow a specific pattern. So unordered lists are used to create a list with bullet points. The order of items doesn't matter. The order of the items, it doesn't matter. But then when you look at the ordered list, the order in which you are displaying your item really matters. So it can be in a numerical form or alphabetical order, in that order. You get it? Now the next item that we look at, or the next type of list we have definition list. Okay, definition list. So as the name suggests, it is also the type of list that we use to give, let's say, definitions to items. So for instance, we can have, let's say, West Africa. Okay, then you have your semicolon or something like that. Then you now give the definition. Okay, West Africa is a continent located in this and that and that. Okay, so definition list is basically used to describe, a particular term that corresponds to that particular list that you are referring to. Okay, we will look at that. And then the next one we have is, we also have a nested list. If you do remember, we mentioned nested elements from the previous video, whereby you can have a lot of elements being inside another element. We also do have a list that is in a form of nesting. Okay, so you can have a list inside a list, and then a list inside a list. So you can meet this by doing something like, say, menu list for your page or something like that, but we'll have a look at it and see how it really works. Okay, so basically these are the main lists that we have when it comes to HTML. And so we'll go straight to how to use this particular list that we have spoken about in our program. Okay, so if you want to understand very well whatever that we are doing, then you have to follow and then be practicing it on your computer as well. That is how you can be able to learn on your own. Some of this is to provide additional support aside our online meetings that we do using Google Meet or any Dex. This are going to also provide you the tools that will help you go far in terms of learning on your own. It is good to sometimes practice everything on your own, get challenges, and then bring it forth for somebody to assist or support you. All right, so quickly we will go into our folder that we have been using for this training. As you can see, we are in HTML and CSS folder, and now I created a list, and then I created a file, and then I named the file as list.html. This means that I am going to be doing only list inside this particular HTML. So I will look for the folder called HTML and CSS, open it, and I will see list. I will now double click to open the file, and then you can see there is nothing on this particular file. Okay, so now we go straight into our work, and then we will start by looking at the first list that we have on our item. So now we are going to look at ordered list and how it is being used, and then how it is being manipulated. Okay, so now the first thing that you would do, as usual, anytime you want to code, is to first call out your HTML structure, of which I know by now you have passed that level. If you have really following the tutorials, you have passed this level. Okay, so you press your shift and the exclamation key, you hit on the enter, and then you do get the structure for the HTML. And so if you can see, when you go and refresh the browser, you can see that the title of the document will change to document. Okay, and now because we are learning list, we are going to change the title of the document to HTML list. And I know this one, they are not new to you, you know this already. So now when you refresh it, you will get HTML list for the title. Now let's go to the body. You know everything that you are doing is going straight inside the body of the document. All right, and so now we'll first write our comment. I told you commenting is very, very important. All right, so now we are going to first of all write out our comment, and then we begin. So learning HTML list like this, and then we can continue from here. All right, I told you from the previous video, of which I may not mention it again, that comment does not appear in your code or in your work. So with this, when I refresh my browser, I will still be at where I was. Nothing will change. Nothing will change. So now basically the comment does not appear in my work. It's just to help you, the developer or the programmer, to know where you were, so that you will confidently or comfortably come back to renew it or to update your script. Okay, so now that we have comfortably declare or state your comments, now you go straight by giving it, let's say let me say you can just type in your first heading, the heading tag. So let's say h1, and then you write something like learning HTML list. Okay, learning HTML list. That's fine. So now when you refresh this, you will be able to get that one on your browser. From the previous video, I explained to you how to center, at least the basic way of doing center. So you can just type in center. You can just type center, hit on the enter key, and then it will open the center tag or center hot syntax for you. You open it up and then bring in your HTML heading 1 there. So you just press Ctrl X and then place it here. This is going to center the title of your work for you. It's going to center the title or the topic of your work for you. To go back a bit, this simply means we have done a nested element. So this h1 element or tag is in center element or tag, meaning we have done a nesting elements here or tagging here. This one is in that. Okay, so now you can refresh your browser and you see that this will move to the center. So I'll just click on it and you can see for yourself it's in the center of the document. All right, so now that we have the heading of what we are going to do, we are now going to just look at the first type of what list. So you can just do the same thing like this. You can just copy and then paste, and then just change this one to types. Just change this one to types of HTML list. Okay, but then you can decide to bring this one down to, let's say, 2 or 3, because it's a subtopic, not the main topic, subtopic. So you just reduce it and then refresh your work. You have learning HTML list and then the types of HTML lists. Okay, so now we are going to look at what are the types of HTML list. What are the types of HTML list? All right, so now the first thing that you are going to do, as I explained to you here, I'm just going to list them down, okay, before we look at how to really use them. Okay, so now the first one that I'll write here is I'll also center this one as well. So I'll just change this one to let's say 4 and then 4. Okay, then now we have HTML ordered. We have HTML ordered list. Okay, then we also do have, so I'll just pick this one, come down, and then we have HTML unordered list. Okay, so I'll just come down again. So as you can see, I'm just listing the types of list that we have. Okay, so we have HTML definition list, and then the last one is we have, I'll just paste this one as well. Then we have HTML nested list. Okay, nested list. Now if you go to your browser and you refresh, you will get something like this. We have learning HTML list, types of HTML list, we have HTML ordered list. So I can just give it like say 1. So this can be 1, Okay, this can be 2, this can be 3, for just identification sake. Okay, now you just refresh this one, and then we have HTML ordered list, HTML unordered list, HTML definition list, and HTML nested list. So now let's look at how to use them. So now this one will lead us to the first one. So I can just write my comment how to use this list above. Okay, this one will not show in the code. It's just going to help me out to be able to know what I am about to do. Okay, so now the first thing I'm going to do is I'll just write my p tag, which is paragraph, and then I will just use the first one, which is HTML ordered list. Okay, now that I have HTML ordered list, under it I'm just going to do an order list, and you see how it will really appear here. Okay, now let's go to the syntax for the HTML order list. So the HTML order list simply starts with the letter O. Remember, because of the extensions that we have installed, some of the extensions that we have installed, we don't have to remember every syntax in our head. With just a simple letter or a single letter, the tag you are looking for can pop up for you. Okay, so you just press OL, and you can see OL has popped up. This means that we are about to do an unordered, or then we are about to do ordered list. We are about to do ordered list. So just press on the enter key, and you have your order list open. Now this is the main tag for the order list. What are going to appear under them are going to have a separate li tag or li syntax. So now this is the first structure you have to open before you now come to list the sequence in which you are listing the items you want to display. So now the next thing will be li, which is list. You just click on it, you open it down, and now type the item. So you can just say this is let's say first item. Okay, this is first item. Now if you want to get the second item, you have to come out from the closing of this li before you do the second item, but all of them should be inside the ol. If you go outside the ol, it means that it will not show as you are looking for. Okay, so everything that is in the li must be in the ol. So this is a perfect example of a nested element. So we can have another li like this, and that one would depend on the number of items you are listing. So we can say this is a second item like this. Okay, now if you want to do another one, you come out of this one and just say li, you type, and then you bring it down, and then you say let's say third item. Okay, like this. Now if you want to do another, depending on the quantity of things you are listing, just continue in that order, li, and then just mention let's say fourth item like this. Okay, so now when you come and you refresh your browser, you can see that this is what is going to be the result of what you were doing. So we have first item, second item, third item, fourth item, and this is HTML ordered list. So quickly let's go and see how the unordered list also looks like. Remember, when you finished, you have to come out of the ol closing tag before you do any other thing. You don't work inside that ol again. You come out. So I'll come out, and then I'll just say HTML. I'll quickly copy this paragraph. You know this P simple stands for paragraph. Okay, I'll just copy this, and then maybe give it HTML unordered list. So that is going to be my subheading here, HTML unordered list. So now, as I said from the beginning, the ordered list will give it a meaningful way of arranging it, 1 2 3 in that order, but the unordered is not going to be in that format. Okay, but then the structure or the syntax almost looks the same. The other one, you started by typing OL. At this point you are going to type UL, which means unordered list. Unordered list. So you just hit on enter and then you get the main structure. Now everything you want is going to be inside the unordered list. So you are just going to do li and you say, let's say Apple phones. Then you now go back to the end of this one, do another li like this, let's say Samsung. Then now you come outside, you can now do another li. The syntax are almost the same, so you just continue in that order depending on the items that you are looking at, listing them. So we can have another li and we can say techno. Okay, so this is basically going to give us an unordered list structure. As you can see, Apple phones, Samsung, Itel, Techno. All these things are important because going forward you will be using them in doing your work. Now let's look at how the definition list also works, or how the definition list is being used. So I can just pick this li heading here and paste it here and just change this one to definition list. Okay, remember everything you are doing still is inside the body of the whole structure. Everything is inside the body of the whole structure. Okay, so now I will now look at how, or we are going to look at how the definition list actually works. Okay, so the same way that when you were doing the ordered list you use OL. Okay, OL, and then when you were doing the unordered you use UL. This one you are going to use DL. You just press on enter and you have your structure. Now the first thing that you are going to do is to define the DT tag. DT, that is the definition tag. Okay, so now you just click on this. So the first one, which is the DL, is the definition list. Okay, and then the next one, which is the DT, is the definition term that you are looking at, and then the DD will give you the meaning of everything that you are doing. Okay, so now for instance, inside the DT I will have HTML. Okay, let me just close this one up a bit so that I can have HTML like this. Then inside that DT, okay, I will now type in my the definition of what I want for that particular thing. So I'll just type in D, close it. Then I can just say HTML is hypertext markup language, like this. So I'm giving a definition to what I am doing, or like this. So HTML is hype. So as you can see, the HTML will come a bit to the extreme far, and then the definition of whatever you are doing will continue like that. Okay, so now the next thing that you can do, I will just cite another example with this so that you get it clear. Is this is still the DL inside, so you open it a bit. Now you want to have another term being explained, you can just have your DT. Okay, then you type in, let's say CSS. Now CSS is the main thing that you want to explain to people that will view your work. You just type in DD, that's the definition. Now you type in CSS is what? Cascading style sheet. Okay, like this. So this is going to come right after the CSS. So you just refresh your browser and you can see how the definition list looks like. So before we end for today, let me quickly do the nested one for you to see how it actually works. Then you know that we are done for list. Okay, so I'll just pick the same paragraph. Okay, paste it here remember, I'm not commenting. It doesn't mean that you should not also comment. You have to know that every single thing that you do, you comment it so that you understand exactly what you are doing. So I can just change this one to nested list. Okay, this means that I'm going to look at how nesting of list really works. Okay, so this is HTML nested list. All right, so we are going to look at the syntax for that. So now, in doing the syntax for HTML nested list, as I explained to you, nesting means putting something into another thing. Okay, so now we can have our UL as a list, which is an unordered list. Okay, we can have our UL like this. All right, and then we open it up a bit. So inside the UL, we can have something like li, and we can say maybe this li will come down. Okay, and inside this li, we can call it, let's say, fruit. So we are going to do a list for fruits. So this is fruit. Okay, now this fruit, inside this fruit, okay, we can have a lot of fruits that we can think of. Okay, so now we'll go down inside that same list. Remember, this is the opening of the fruit list. And then this is the main UL. Unordered list that we are doing. Okay, but inside this fruit list, we can have another li. We can have another unlisted list in this one like this. Okay, and now inside this UL, we can have something like apple. Okay, apple. Oh, sorry, you have to call your li first. So you have to call your li and have something like apple. Okay, now you can have something like li again, and then call this one, let's say, oranges. Check it out and see whether you are on the right path. So you can see that we have first item as fruits, and then we have its sub as what? Apple, and then oranges. So we are doing a nesting list. So the main one is fruits, and then the next one is, so you can keep adding depending on the LIs you want. So we can have another one that says, let's say, banana. You can say banana. Okay, like this. You can so have, let's say, mango, li, mango. Okay, so all these things will fall under the fruit list. Okay, under the fruit list. Now, if you want to do another list which is unordered inside this same structure we have here, then you now come outside of this one here. Remember, this is the main UL. That you are working with. Okay, so this is the first li for the main UL. So you can have another main li before inside that one there will be another small li's. So I can just say li, and I'll hit on the enter. This li, I can call it I can call it vegetables. So the first one was what? Fruits, and then these ones are vegetables. So I'm now going to list inside the vegetables another UL, which is unordered list. Okay, like this. So now I can have something like, let's say, first li, vegetables. I can say carrots. I don't know whether I'm right or wrong, but then I'll say carrots is one of the vegetables. Okay, I can have another li, and I'll call it, let's say, BROCOCOLI, let's say COLI, like this, another vegetable. Okay, so what I am simply doing is that I'm going to have another main list. So these are the main list. So I can just say, okay, instead of HTML nested list, for you to understand it, we can just say into bracket, let's say types of fruits. types of fruits and vegetables. Okay, like this. So you know that it will come here. So the main types of fruits or something like that, we have fruits here. It is an unordered list, and then these are the sub. We have another vegetables here. So we can go on and go on and go on. So if it is, for instance, phone, we can have another list inside the main one as this. This is the main one. So we can have another main li and call it, let's say, phones. Okay, phones. Now inside this main li that we call it phones, we are going to have another ul that we call it, let's say, another ul that will host all the items we are going to list. Now our first li can be, let's say, under phones we have iPhone, under phone we have iPhone. Okay, then we can have another item like let's say Samsung. Then we can have another item like, let's say, Nokia. Okay, so you are listing items under the main. Okay, so you can see phones, iPhone, Samsung, Nokia in that order. Basically, this is what I want to teach you for today. It's been a little bit, it's getting a little bit complex, I know, but then with time you will get everything that you are learning, and so keep learning and keep practicing. It's only the next thing that I'm thinking it will be a little bit confusing. If you have any question, just send the question in the chat box or WhatsApp us in the WhatsApp group and we will attend to you. Have a nice day.